Okay, we're recording. So we're I'm here, and we're gonna talk about my vision of in a true market system. What I feel is the perfect foundation. I don't. Yeah, in a way, it's the perfect foundation for a true market because a lot of anarcho whatevers or anarchists. I'm not really an anarchist if it involves leaving people alone, right? I believe in the true market. I believe in people intervening forcefully if they have to for the benefit of the perfect evolutionary being. But the foundation of this, market profit, evolutionary profit based um, environment, you could say, will be the reputation, a crypto reputation system, an open crypto reputation system that will take over the functions that we know of, what we call currently as justice and money. So I think this reputation. I think this reputation system will reunite money and reputation. I think money is just another form of reputation. Um, it's a way to show that society owes you. And I think so. What happened, I think, was with democracy and these other forms of inefficient systems like democracy, communism, and whatever system. But even it had to do even with a lack of technology, um, the imperfect information. Number one, so the lack of technology to distribute information freely and cheaply. Number one, that caused this separation, and more importantly, these inefficient systems of government like democracy and communism or whatever type of republic or even anarcho-capitalism, even these ANCAPs or libertarians, a lot of them believe in the right to privacy. And I think that's one of the biggest enemies of this reputation system. It's an artificial construct that has um, hampered our development and our productivity to strive toward this perfect evolutionary being. So um, I advocate that evolution's naturally going to eradicate privacy. It's a scary thing for people living in a democracy, right, where a government artificially pays to protect your privacy. There are privacy laws in democracy that protect this right to privacy, right? You you can
Technically,
get
yeah.
sued. Oh, what's that? Let me see. Let
Yeah,
me read.
technically, yeah. There are
Yeah,
many protections, at least in America, but
yeah,
everyone also knows that the government has access to phone records. Our phones
yeah,
and cameras are constantly running,
yeah.
and we've all pretty much accepted that.
Yeah, but it's centralized. So that whatever information they collect by listening in on your phone is not shared throughout society, right? What I'm
Right.
talking about is when when something is like listening into, like, let's say someone listened into your phone call, it will be shared for everyone to know if they want to access it, and it'll be part of your history, of your reputation. Everything you say will be recorded here for everyone to see, and um, this will be encouraged by evolution. Like we oft it's because of government and this unprofitable system that encourages you to, like, that old saying on the government playground on public schools,
Mhm.
don't snitch, right? That's a malfunction of these inefficient systems, which evolution will eventually eradicate, both the system and this ethic. Any system that supports this will be eradicated through via unprofitability, right? Once you're unprofitable, it'll select against you. So this is what we're going toward, I believe. If I'm right, there's going to be it will tend towards zero privacy, right? Everyone will know everything about you. Everything will know everything about you from let me reference my notes.
At least to the official degree, as much as is possible, I can see that becoming reality within the next 10 or 20 years, where
Maybe.
everybody's essentially live streaming themselves constantly. It's a safety and protection thing. It'd be, like you say, you can make even money off of live streaming. Some people do.
Yeah. The problem is, so there's I never tried to analyze it with game theory yet because I'm just developing it, but there's a there's an issue of you know so the only privacy you can probably um um sustain is just in your own mind, right? Maybe you can keep your own thoughts from this reputation system, but you will be encouraged to provide it. Like, so the reputation system, again, it's composed of two parts, right? I think, this is my vision. I could be the further I get out to the description, the more I can be wrong, right? But I know this reputation system will be open, free, base, virtually free, virtually. I think, depending on depending on the technology get at hand, but whatever cost is put into it will be worth. It will be given multiple fold back by increasing efficiency, at least from our inefficient state right now where we have privacy. I think,
Mm,
privacy is the one thing that's keeping us, that's creating a lot of inefficiencies. I think I mentioned to you before off recording last time we talked that it is one of the key factors or that enable crime to happen, especially when people get away with it, right? Imagine, like, so if you could track everybody anywhere, like your history of your movements, how can you get away with murder, right? How can you get away with anything? Every call will be logged onto this thing, every record, every conversation you've had, and you will be punished for suppressing information. If later on you're found out that you didn't divulge some information that comes to light, that later gets discovered and would have been useful, that opportunity cost would be reflected in a decrease in your reputation. So
right.
you see, it's like I don't want to say a crazy, it's like a game. So in economics, we have game theory. So where actors, they're considered as like players in a game, where they're given incentives and disincentives, and see how they act if they're rational, right? So in this game, you're rewarded for providing useful and true information, even predictions. I don't know, even analysis. You will be rewarded for it if you, like, even throw out an accusation that turns out to be true. If you're the first one to do that, it's like a game, right? So the first one to supply a novel piece of true information that's useful, you will get rewarded proportionally with your reputation, and your reputation will be your money in this system. So, like, you're so I mean, you could try to be a private individual, but you will have to pay for it in reputation. And so you see the incentives here. It's it's scary, though, right? I mean, it's because we're used to this privacy thing, but we don't see the costs of it. The fact that we have to walk down the street every day and be scared of, like, I don't know, a murder perpetrator or a rapist or something
So
like
who pays for the, like, let's say somebody comes out with an accurate accusation, they're the first person to make it. Let's say it's I don't know what
that. Say
whatever.
you can
Who
say a
pays
piece
for
of
that?
information.
How does the reputation get
Well,
awarded?
it's virtually, the internet's virtually free right now, kind of like. So imagine, just you just have to store this information, number one. So it's in two parts: an information portion where everybody can just contribute whatever information, and
Mm-hmm.
then someone has to figure out how to organize and score this thing, and there's going to be a competition of those, and it's going to be paid, I think. It's going to be paid like, just like crypto, how cryptos. So it's going to be a crypto reputation system where it's decentralized, where there should be an analogous function of, like, crypto, right?
Yeah.
So it's sustainable through, like, the miners, right? And I'm not talking about underage. The
Right.
miners that there's miners out there running mining rigs to verify the transactions, right?
Well,
And
yeah,
this is
they have like whole GPU stacks,
yeah, yeah,
and they're constantly running equations.
yeah. Yeah. They're very basically they're verifying all the transactions. It's kind of, I don't know, somewhat democratic where you just have to have over 50% in order to verify a block of transactions, and it officially gets recorded on the blockchain. So it's gonna kind of look somewhere like that. I don't know but I can see the structures there, right? So it's gonna be funded by these. It's gonna be operate sustained by these miners, and I think anybody can virtually. I don't know how it work. I picture like it's verification of the truthfulness of the I don't know, of the information provided, right? So like so once like you can say a rumor about me on this thing. People can lie too at your risk. You can
Right.
even lie about me. Hey, I know this guy killed this guy. So and then people like the miners will come in, or not the miners in this case, but anybody could come in, verify, put the reputation at stake, and verify what you say. And so the earlier you come in, the earlier you provide information, the earlier you verify information, the higher your award. The more value it has, the higher your award, right? So this game of supplying true information is the key, and it will become money. It will replace Bitcoin. It will replace any crypto, because crypto's inefficient because it's pseudo anonymous.
So
Yeah.
you could see Snopes releasing their own Snopes specific reputation judging system, right? Is
Yeah.
that what you're talking about?
I don't know. I don't know Soaps. I've heard of it, but I don't even know what it
Snopes
does.
is like a couple. It's like an older couple or something that just sit on the internet all day, and they have their own way of verifying or making not verified on different.
That's centralized.
Right.
But so whatever it is,
They would have
imagine.
theirs up there, and then other people would have like next to theirs, like, oh, this is what Snopes said, and now this is what we say.
Yeah,
Kind
maybe.
of.
I don't even know what Snopes is. Maybe I should look into it. But yeah, it sounds. I don't know. There's a bunch of. You can already see a bunch of reputation systems. Yelp, Snopes. I don't know, eBay
Right.
reputation. Uh, the bad
Yeah.
thing about Craigslist, right, is there's no reputation system, so everybody flakes out. You see, you see the perversion there. No one knows who they are. If you work under a username like in eBay or Yelp, you can leave false feedback. In this reputation system, you can't hide. You can only operate under your own name. If you
You
if
know,
you can create a corporation, right? I don't
yeah.
think I think it I think evolution will eradicate these corporate veils where you work under a pseudonym. Like Walmart. You can't work as Walmart. They'll know you worked under Walmart and what you did for Walmart. You will never separate your own name. So like corporations can hide personal liability. That in this case, I don't believe in restitution, and I'll explain why. Right in this reputation. So the reputation system is a justice system that has no restitution guaranteed. Right, it doesn't care. An efficient market system, I think, won't care about restitution. And this is where libertarians and ANCAPs go wrong. They always talk about, because they're just continuing a bad ethic from democracy. Our court systems have a restorative function, right? They try to make whole the victim. That is a sunk cost, and it's a sunk cost fallacy, right?
And in many cases, it doesn't solve the issue, like even at all.
No, it makes in most cases it should make things worse because it's sunk cost fallacy. So you have to think of it from a rational actor. If you were the justice system spending your own money, right?
Hmm.
Let's say your society, you, Michael, our society, right? A robber robs me of I don't know, a car, let's say a piece of capital that makes me productive. Let's just say an automobile, right? How much money? You know this fact. This fact is already know. You know the perpetrator. Your society, right? Think of it as you. How much money out of your pocket will you help him to recover his car?
Me?
It
Not
would
much.
depend on a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
It would depend if he's your brother, sister, if he's your
Well,
boss, if he's your coworker, if he's your
well,
employee, if he
if
trades with
this
you, right?
exactly.
It ultimately depends how profitable it is for you, right? Ultimately, really, a rational person would say, "What's in it for me?" Right?
Not
So,
many
like,
Jesuses out there.
what's that?
Not many Jesus Christs out there.
Jesus Christ. Oh, you're religious, huh? I
Well,
have
I'm
to
just
look.
saying there's not a lot of people out there willing to be like, I love everyone and willing to do anything for everyone.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. But what would society? What would you do? I mean, so if this guy uses that car to work in society for you, and this guy produces, let's say, $100 for you every week, it's rational for you to spend up to $100 to help. Let's say the car was the critical factor, right? If
mhm,
he had his car, he'd produce $100 for you per week. If he
mhm.
didn't have his car, zero. Let's just make it easy, right? How much would you pay out of your pocket to help him recover his car? Up to a
Well,
hundred bucks. Rash. If you don't have any other opportunity cost with that $100, up to like 99 bucks, 99.99, right? It's still rational because spending $99 to get his car back, you're still making 1 cent every week, right? Right.
right.
It doesn't make rational sense and economic sense for you to spend more than $100 per week. You know, let's just say total for the lifetime you know him, he's gonna make $100 for you. It doesn't make sense to spend more than $100. Or what happens? You incur a loss, an economic loss, and evolution imposes force on you. Selective forces against you. The higher you are, the higher your loss, the greater the force it tries to eradicate you. So you see, evolution brings these forces that mold our behavior. And so that's why we have a natural sense to profit, some more stronger than others. But at any one instance in time, this development process is imperfect on any one person. So this sense of profit is strong with all of us because it's evolution over time, over our societal interactions. It's been given to us this sense to make profit, come out better than we were before we acted. That's profit. That's self-interested profit, at least. And I think that's a superficial profit. There's a higher levels of profit, right? You could profit for society. So you see the game theory play here, right? Why would
Mhm.
you? So you have to think of it as like a game. Like, you got to get more profit. So why would you help this guy? So why would society help somebody recover something if it's not profitable? And that's where this justice system fails. It incurs losses with this silly policy of guaranteeing restitution and making victims whole without looking at their productivity or what they can pay, what the true demand for that is. And it incurs these small losses. You can see the democratic system incur losses on a lot of its projects, whether it be the justice system, restitution system, war, funding policies to fight the drug war, any policy, just house prisoners. They're not profitable, and that's what makes them, in my sense, um, immoral.
Well,
So,
personally, yeah, I agree. But also, there's certain things like the FDA where like the government probably should be regulating food to make sure that things aren't getting in metal bits or
so,
whatever.
so the problem with any regulation is it profitable again, right? Are the benefits worth so worth the are the benefits are the costs worth the benefits? Whatever we pay these guys to do it, the value of those goods could it have been done more efficiently? So the problem with government is that it's cost benefit and profit almost unconscious. It's almost callous toward the profit motive because it's spending other people's money for other people's benefit, and it somehow doesn't internalize all the costs and benefits to society. So when you create an FDA, it it'll regulate it, but is whatever benefit you gain for them, if any benefit at all, it could be a negative benefit. If you really look at this, you are paying a high price for this regulation.
Mhm.
Now, in the open reputation system, anybody's research is accessible and you will be rewarded for true research. And this body of knowledge will build, right? So, if there's true demand for this food regulation to know what's in food, right? You'll know it too. Every restaurant you go, if you want to know what ingredients they're using that day, it's going to be provided there, right? You'll know
Mhm.
where they get their food. You know they went down to the farmer's market or a wholesale supplier or it's frozen. So you see, almost regulation almost isn't needed, other than the fact that you need someone to research. What does the FDA regulate as far as so they regulate safety, right? But that's almost eradicated. The everyone knows. I mean, science always comes up with studies, and the system will incentivize. So if there's going to be a danger, like let's say there's this danger incurring damage to society in the form of poisonous food, it will incentivize through the reputation system to identify the problem, and by you know rewarding people. So it's going to reward people in terms of reputation. If you've cured like something that's causing like $1 million in damage to society in terms of whatever this poison is, right? It'll
Mhm.
incentivize you. It'll kind of give you like up to $1 million worth of reputation to at least identify and solve it. Well, you have to identify and solve it. So so imagine there's this trouble out there.
So I actually
And
have a scenario for
yeah,
this.
go ahead.
Just recently, listeria outbreak happened with a whole bunch of cheese products here in the Southwest.
Yeah,
Two people have died from it. 26 people
yeah,
sick. 23 people hospitalized.
yeah.
CDC has released information on this after the company itself did it voluntarily because the company doesn't want that
Say it
happening.
again. I was man, it's hard. My it's hard for me to listen when I start thinking. Go ahead. I can't multitask. So thinking
The
and
CDC released
yeah.
information on this listeria outbreak after the company who is responsible for it
Yeah,
released
what's
that.
listeria?
Listeria is some sort of disease.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, and how's it spread? Roughly how it spread? Bacteria or something?
Um,
How's it spread? In food?
uh, through the gut,
Yeah, through food. Well, how did
through
how
food,
what is this company that?
dairy foods. So
Okay,
it's
dairy food.
yogurt,
Yeah,
cheeses, things like this.
yeah. So if the so you don't know you so try to find out right now
Hmm.
about your dairy provider, what ingredients and how they're producing their milk, right? You can't. It's hidden, and you couldn't do it if you wanted to. They could.
Hmm.
There's privacy laws, right? There's no one. Even if someone had, let's say there was an employee who kind of had an idea. Oh, maybe there's a listeria in this dairy. I don't know what listeria is. So there's this bacteria in this dairy, right? He's not gonna fucking if he if he tries to volunteer this piece of information and it turns out to be true, he will be held liable in the court system for damages. And he won't be rewarded if it is true, right? He'll probably get some recognition, but no monetary reward that makes him better off. In this open reputation system, you will be encouraged. So there's the risk that if you're found out, again, suppressing information. So if this employee had an idea, a sense of risk of this outbreak and whatever, he would be if he were to choose not to provide that information, and it would later come out, that, oh, this company did it. Oh, look, this guy works in this area where he might have had an idea, and then you have the minors coming in to verify, like what the media kind of does now. But anybody can be this. You can even talk out of your butt. You can even come on the reputation. I know he did it, even though you don't know shit. But if that comes out later that you lied, you'll suffer for it.
Mm.
So you see, it's its own punishment and reward system. So it encourages people. So if this guy comes out, if he saves like $1 million of damage, he'll almost kind of be rewarded proportionally in terms of reputation. So there's this incentive system to get information out fast. And let's say the contamination does get out, like contaminated milk gets out
Mm-hmm.
right away. One person gets sick, bam! It pops up on the information portion. Everybody, miners confirm it. Oh, this guy got listeria. It was from this company. Bam. Um, right away, like there's incentive for people to alert all people who stock whatever this thing. I'm just running through. I don't even know exactly how it run, but it would somehow play like that. System information would spread like fire because there is no libel and slander laws. There's no privacy laws. Information will be infinitely cheaper than it is now because there's so many HIPAA laws. It's against the law. I think there's medical privacy. There's right to privacy. So you'll get thrown in jail for certain information, libel and slander.
Yeah.
You should be able to libel too. I mean you'll be punished for it, but you should. So this incentive system will not only encourage find and try to prevent the outbreak, but if an outbreak were to occur, it would cut it off almost immediately. Like it would really what's the word? Damage control. It would maximize damage control almost right away. Like an outbreak, we rely on media, the internet, and there's medical records. So if someone gets sick, the hospital can't tell everybody. But in
Mm-hmm.
this case, you know, the hospital, if they get a case of Listerine, what's that called? Listeria.
Listeria, it's a
Listeria.
bacteria.
They cannot. I think it's called HIPAA laws. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I think that's called HIPAA laws. They cannot tell the media. Well, I think they can inform the media that there's a an outbreak, but they can't tell what person. And it lessens the information out there. If people are investigating where this listeria outbreak came from, they want to know who it is. That's hidden, right? Even though they might be able to tell me, hey, we got a case of listeria. There's a danger out there. Let's say he's unconscious, so he can't tell where it came from. But so imagine if all the information's out what he did that day. So in our current system, the hospital might be able to tell the media, hey, we have one case of listeria. In my open reputation system, the hospital, whoever owns it, will be working under his name. All the employees and their job duties, they will be operating under their own name, right? And so they will be encouraged to provide not only that there's an outbreak of listeria, a case of listeria, but who is it? Once that person is known and his condition or whatever, everybody, all the miners, right, or the confirmers, who people can make a living just confirming data. Like everybody's like confirming statements or truth values of whatever. But now the incentive game is there. Find out what the hell's going on. So everybody can look on this information system. Who's this guy? Where does he work? Where did he buy this milk? It'll be right there. You can trace it. You can trace his steps. Oh, he bought milk here. Oh, okay. It's likely this. Someone will come out and say, hey, I volunteer. I suspect it's this brand because it's the only one, 80% of the milk that this thing sells. Oh, and then the owner of that shop will go, hey, no, I have the receipt. I have his receipt. Well, it'll be known. His receipt will be known, so anyone can look up his receipt. They will know exactly what brand out there. Bam, an alert right away. The whoever owns that company will be working under his name. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Michael Mike of, he can try to work under a pseudonym, but corporate veil, but it'll be like Michael Mike under thing, and then your company, hey, it looks like there's at least a probability of outbreak with your product. Bam, he'll know because he'll see, fuck, why was my reputation decreasing, right? And
Yeah.
you'll be worried. It's like your bank account decreasing. Hey, what the fuck? Better stop it. And then all his action from there on, he'll volunteer it. Oh, I'm gonna put out an order right away to all my employees. Stop production, stop distribution, and you know. So you can see it's because of privacy that it inhibits damage control and prevention. It's kind of, I'd like to see it. It's just I wish I could do a petri dish experiment and see how it plays out. It's all game theoretical. You can almost probably run some type of computer simulation, but so that's what I see is the key.
You
And
need a programmer.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's kind of like I'm not sure if the technology or the code is. I can't see. I can. Yeah, yeah. I need someone. I would pay to do this too. I would just to get just to get like some type of prototype out there, just to inspire people. But you know what I wished. You know what's going on in Argentina. So I don't know if you want to work out a crime thing too, a crime hypothetical, but it work
Are
out
you
kind of
talking
similar.
about Javier Milei or whatever his
Yeah,
name is?
yeah. So in Argentina, however I'm my dream would be like if he were smart enough, or if I could influence him well enough, he has the power to like just fucking waste government money on my reputation system, then implement it. Like try to what? So it's gonna be like AI. It's gonna be like Terminator. Once you start it, it's gonna like take over the world. Like all you need is one country to do it, and when one country does it, reputation has no borders, right? So once a geographic area were to implement it, anyone's information can be in there. They could talk anyone. All your reputation will be probably in there within a few days, right?
It sounds very similar to social media, but a lot more involved.
Open. It's just open. That's the only
Yeah.
difference. You don't know. Yeah, I can control my data on social media, and if you were to lie, if you were to like accuse me of something, I could sue you for slander. I have to prove damages, but that's always a fear in this. And so with these and it's all inhibited. You can see elements of reputation. Money is reputation. It's you present money to somebody, you're telling them, hey, society. I think I said this. I have deja vu, but when you present money to people, it's an element of reputation. You're saying to somebody, hey, I did something for society.
Right.
Pay me back. I'm worth it to society to sustain me. That's what you're saying every time you buy something. You've done something for society. That's an element of reputation. It's an element of your productivity. That's why society kind of treats rich people better than poor people. And it's unfortunately that's just what it's gonna turn out to be. It's gonna be plutocracy, you know, where but they're gonna be worship. Rich people are gonna be held to a high reputation score because they're productive, because they provide values for society. So they should be rewarded and perpetuated, right? The system's going to try to produce more people like these, you know. So I don't know if you want to work out like even how you could use the reputation. So the reputation system will be the basis for the justice system, right? When you have a crime committed against you, you're very limited on what you can do. You can, or you have a tort. You're trying to sue somebody. But in this reputation system, your first thing you're going to do is supply the information to the information portion. Let society figure out what the truth is because the incentives are there for them to do so if it's valuable to them. Now, they're going to help you more if you have higher reputation because it's like money. It's your value to society. It's your value to the perfect evolutionary being. I don't mean to sound like culty, but ultimately it's going to reputation scores will tend toward your value to the perfect evolutionary being. But anyways, besides that, they're going to look at your reputation first because your reputation will dictate how much resources is what's the word I'm looking for is not required but called for, appropriate to help you, right? If you have a crime against you that's somehow limiting your production, right? Someone's ringing your doorbell and running did door and it's kind of fucking up your productivity, right? The reputation system will have incentives to help higher reputation individuals. And in every instance, whatever crime, whatever malady, even if you're just trying to get more productive, society will come help higher reputation system, higher reputation individuals. So
Well, that's great. That
yeah,
people who are capable of doing great things and get
yeah,
popular through whatever,
yeah,
they
yeah,
deserve more resources and more help.
yeah. But unfortunately, it comes to it it becomes a plutocracy, where the rich are held to a higher standard. Unfortunately, I think things like rich people can get away with more crime, for instance. So it works like this way too. Like reputation works against low reputation individuals. I think there
Wouldn't
would even
teachers
be
get paid a lot more?
what's that?
Wouldn't teachers would get paid a lot more?
No, no. Grade school teachers,
All
we're overeducated. I think
people.
we should eradicate a lot of education. I think kids should go to work as soon as they're after reading and arithmetic, then find out for themselves what education they need. You're supposed to go to school to make you productive toward the perfect evolutionary being, but I mean, in society terms, you're supposed to be productive and make more money, right? That's why we really go to school. Instead, this inefficient system forces us to go to grade school, forces us to go through high school, all the way up to through high school, and we've wasted most of our time. How much of your grade school education from kindergarten to high school do you still retain and use? Virtually none past reading and arithmetic, right? You can
Yeah,
learn on your own time. What's that?
yeah, tiny bits and pieces, maybe.
Yeah, and it's really not that useful, right? Did you really use history other than maybe having a conversation with people like me or something? Did you really use biology? Did you really use algebra anywhere? Even though it might give you a sense of how to problem solve or something quantitatively, or reading
The argument for benefit in public schools has always been the socialization. I've heard.
socialization. You
Yeah.
get that in the workplace. You get a perverted socialization. It's like prison. You know, you learn this don't snitch, right? That's the key. It's instilled in you in in these inefficient systems, these government run systems that
Oh man,
encourage
if one kid acts wrong, everybody gets punished.
what's that?
If
When
one kid in class is acting out, the whole class gets punished for it.
oh
So
yeah,
now
if
we're all trying to beat up the one kid who's acting out.
yeah. Yeah, that's I don't know, that's interesting. Well, it's mildly interesting, but just to work out game theory of how that works out. But yeah, yeah. Besides that, I don't want to analyze. I might get off into a tangent, but
Public
yeah,
school.
I'd like to see, but you have a system that rewards things like that. Rewards don't snitching. It's the same thing. You can see this don't snitch culture in prisons, right? It's all about like hiding things from the government or something but in my system it's like you're rewarded for snitching. It will it will change culture into rewarding snitching. I know, but all of us have our grade school indoctrination where don't snitch, right? And so we have to like get rid of that. And I think snitching is moral. I mean, true snitching. Hopefully, it's not false accusations, but you will be found out and dealt with if your if you're known as a liar, your reputation keeps going down. So the next piece of information you provide, will it'll be more doubted, right? It's kind of like it feeds on itself. So
Yeah.
what this is called in game theory, man, I'm not even using my notes. What this is called in game theory is called a repeated game.
A repeated game.
Yeah. So in a repeated game, like there's iterations, there's steps in each game. So it's like, um, so a repeated game. So if I interact with you in one iteration, I have to take into account my future interactions with you. So obviously, the people you see every day, you're not gonna fuck over, right?
Oh.
Right. But what makes criminals do crime is that they probably won't ever see them again.
Mm.
But with an open reputation system, it makes every interaction part of a repeated part of a repeated game where everybody knows your last transaction with everybody else. So if you fuck this guy over, it's like everybody knows about it. So it carries over to your next transaction to whoever you deal with. And that's what's missing in this society. Your
Yeah,
criminal record is hidden, right?
we had a pool that we needed fixed, and my parents hired some local guy, had a whole
Yeah.
crew show up. He ended up stealing family heirloom chest full of
Yeah.
tools,
And the
and
the problem is privacy. You
and
weren't
we
able
tried
to.
to out him on Facebook and everything, and he
Yeah,
ended up
there
doing
you
other
go.
people's jobs because he
It's
got
kind of
he
like,
never knew.
yeah, I mean, you could be in some, like, liability danger if if your some of your accusations are false. He could take you to court. But
Well,
but
no,
it,
the guy ended up going to prison for like worse things not too long
yeah,
later after that.
you should have been able to. You should have been able to. So the problem is the lack of information. When you screen this guy, all you did is probably go on Craigslist and look for a handyman, right, or something like that.
If even at that, I think we just heard about a
Yeah,
random listing on Facebook, and
yeah.
then
Maybe you might be able to
them up.
see some rating on Yelp or whatever, but it's all inhibited information. You should be able to see this guy's. Imagine if you were able to see what he had for breakfast that day, let alone his criminal history and his work history and the quality of his work, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to freaking worry. He wouldn't get away with it. He can get away with it because he's probably anonymous. You probably didn't. Did he give you his name
Oh, I
before this?
have a name. Yeah, I have a name.
I know. Did he give you? Did you, like, when you hired him? Did he give you his name? Because he's obviously looking to rob you. He doesn't. I don't. I wouldn't want to give you my name.
Yeah, he gave us his name.
His full name.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
kind of stupid. But anyways, if he didn't give you his name, he'd be. You wouldn't be able to deal with him without knowing his name. It's kind
Right.
of like your name, your credit score name would be over your head, just like the social. This is like the Chinese social credit score, but everyone can see it. So that's the beauty of it. You don't have to screen anymore. There's no wasted resources in screening. It's all done from the information provided given with the reputation system and the scores that are showing you his value, right? Automatically, if it's low reputation, you say, "Oh fuck, what's wrong with this guy?" And then these scores will probably have breakdowns on his reputation and in different facets of his life, his his work. You know, what was he doing for you?
He was repairing a pool.
Yeah, okay, a pool repair guy. What his work is in pool repair. You'll see his score in that. You'll see his score in how how his friends see him. You'll probably see different breakdowns of his overall score. And you wouldn't, if you had that information, you wouldn't have got robbed in the first place. He wouldn't have tried to rob you in the first place because he knows he couldn't get away with it. He can't pawn off one of your items without it being known, right? If
Yeah.
he's trying to sell this, uh, you know, family heirloom, you've already said, "Hey, I'm missing a family heirloom." Right away, everybody would speculate. Everybody would come see. If you're a high reputation individual, they'd come in faster. They'd have more someone to help you even quicker. They go, oh, hey, you had this pool guy here. He was here. Oh, I suspect this guy. Anybody? Can you confirm? Yeah, this guy tried to pawn off this same ring at the shop, and then the the pawn shop owner would feel pressure to give up that information. He should have already provided it, right? He should have already put, hey, this guy tried to pawn off this ring. It's already in the information system. It should be. If he suppressed it, imagine if the pawn shop tried to circumvent the reputation system. Now, what happens? I don't know. So yeah, so he couldn't. Well, anyways, it would be poison goods. Like the reputation system already would know, like, to look out. All the pawn shops would know. Look out for this ring. There'd be a picture of it if you had one, and so on and so forth. You can see like the
Yeah,
chain of
we would have staked our
events.
whole reputation on calling him out. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, yeah, you're only trying to help yourself. I don't know how much you get rewarded for helping yourself, but
Because
but
everybody, he's a thief.
yeah, but it would help get the thief off the provide information about a bad actor in society. Yeah, I mean, you say so. The first thing you do once you realize you got stolen, is you go to the information portion. Now, again, the incentives are true information, so you don't want to speculate too far, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is, so if you speculate too far and you're wrong, but you can speculate and be right and be rewarded. It's almost like gambling, right?
Yeah.
What you provide. So you go to reputation. A missing ring. I hired a pool guy that same day and scaled him to come over. You know, maybe you just want to do that, right? If you want to go a little further, you think I think he did it because there was no one else in that. You know, you might speculate, but if you're wrong, right? So there's risk involved,
Right.
and
Well,
yeah,
the scenario was that he had worked on the pool over some period of time and left it partially unfinished and just
yeah.
wasn't showing up anymore. And that's when we realized him and his crew had gotten into our garage and had taken an old wooden chest.
Oh man, that's hard to. Why would you like?
Like we needed it to the garage to store stuff in or something was the argument. I don't remember. It was ridiculous.
I don't know why he'd risk his all that stuff just for a stupid chest. That's hard to get rid of too.
I
As a
think he
thief.
was doing meth.
Oh, but I mean, if you, I don't know. But yeah, you see how the incentive system works versus, and all the information was out there, right? It made things smooth since virtually all information is provided. What that guy had for breakfast, where that guy was, you can
There was
pinpoint where he was. He can't travel. He can't travel anywhere. All let's assume in this paradise that all roads, all avenues of transportation are privately owned, and these owners are providing information about who's traveling on the roads. You can trace exactly who was at your house, when, and where they traveled. So everything would be there. The crime would be solved almost instantaneously.
What would you do about the dark web? Or what would how would the would
The
that still
same
exist?
It's the same thing. If you will be punished reputationally for suppressing information. And that's what that is. So if I knew you were participating in the dark web, the reputation system would reward people to supply that information to the reputation system, right? Michael's on the dark web, right? Now you get rewarded for more information. You probably, what is he doing? Right? When did he do it? Is it a crime? And you will be outed, and you'll be so the dark web will virtually be eradicated because of this. You
So,
can't.
like, what about
And
people who were just trying to do drug transactions, like the meth heads? They don't want anyone finding out. They're going to try to keep it secret, and they're just going to be found out.
yeah, they'll be found out first. If they first, drugs won't be illegal. Um, it's too expensive to run a drug war, but I endorse the drug war because I'm an accelerationist. But besides that, yeah, I mean, being a drug user is, not, it's marginally a bad. It's not really a bad, right? I mean, it may lower your productivity. People can function.
Depends.
I think most drug users are functional. They're still functional in society.
Yeah, I
I'm
guess.
not sure. I don't know what the stat is, but a lot of people can function on drugs. You can see how people do. The biggest drug is alcohol, right? Most people can.
Tobacco or alcohol? Yeah,
Most people can responsibly use alcohol. That's
most of
kind
them.
of like
Yeah.
what I mean. Yeah. It's just, the ones that can't, they'll be outed. Your drug history will be out there. How the hell can you hide it? Right? You
Right.
can't, like, there will be some roads that you can't use unless you will have to you will be encouraged to provide what you had for breakfast, let alone what drugs you use that day. On some roads, they will be requiring you to prove that you're sober, maybe by blowing into some apparatus in your car to supply information to all the roads you're going to use that day, right? And everyone will know it if you were slightly intoxicated or you're trying to get in your car. And then an alert would be put out, hey, this guy's trying to drive on a road. Bam, everyone knows. There's no hiding it. You can't. The incentive structure is too strong. And that's what's inhibited with privacy. It's
Well,
scary,
how does
but
somebody find out if some random person drank a bottle on the side of, after pulling over to the side of the road,
yeah,
drank a bit, and then went off driving again?
they well, someone would have to experience it first. All roads are private. You'll be tracked. If you, I don't know what the case is, you stop in the middle of the road and start drinking. Where are you going to drink this? If you were
Right?
at a bar, so for instance, so you have to buy the beer. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
knows, right? Okay, he's in his car. All this is in information. He bought beer. He just bought beer. 11:43 p.m. This store, he bought one case for whatever price or whatever reputation scores price. Oh, he's in his car. Okay, I don't know. Even they might even have. And then so to get to drive on that to drive the car, you'd have to blow into an apparatus and let the roads allow you to drive, or else all the roads would somehow exclude you from the roads once they detect alcohol in your system. So what are you
And
saying that they secretly drink and then get on the road?
I guess, yeah. Well, I guess at that point you could just have some technology that constantly
Yeah.
investigates the face.
Yeah, but how would you get that? How would you get that piece of technology? Everything would be known if you try to, even if you were trying to build it yourself to try to get around this apparatus. Ultimately, it might be just video where you just can't like disguise it.
Maybe.
So let's
Yeah.
say you build something. Let's say there's no video yet, and you're trying to like trick the apparatus that you're sober, right? You would have to build that thing. So you would have to gather the parts. All of that would be known. So
Yeah.
someone looking at what you're purchasing could piece it together. Hey, he's building. It looks like this is functioning to fool this alcohol apparatus detector, whatever, and he would be rewarded if he's right, punished if he's wrong, and it would accumulate in his. And people would make a living on their good reputation just verifying information, being
A
able
lot
to
of
predict.
detectives, private eyes.
Yeah, yeah. You could do it on the side. You could
Yeah.
like on your off time. Hey, I need money. I better like fucking just you could even do it from the armchair in your office. Just like do internet search. Oh, piece information together to
This
make it
is
make
kind of
sense.
funny because a lot of people love watching these drama TV shows based on real characters happening in real life, and then they would love to be able to like investigate it further and like
Yeah,
put the
yeah,
details and put pieces together. And if this was the case for everybody
yeah,
in the country, it would
yeah,
just
yeah,
be an all-day party
yeah,
for
yeah. It would
this.
be much more efficient though, way more efficient because I mean, so yeah, yeah, they get together and solve crime, right? They're
Yeah.
sometimes more effective than the detectives working the case, or they work a cold case and they solve it. But
That's
the information is so hard to get. It's so hard. I remember, there was a conspiracy of the vaccine. I don't know if I want to say it. There's a conspiracy on the vaccine. Like there's this one chick that thought to be dead. There's a nurse that first took the vaccine that collapsed on camera, and
Mhm.
everyone speculated because she disappeared the shot she died and stuff. And like, things like that would be and there's a whole community coming together. Where is she? Is she dead? Are they covering it up? And
Right.
it happened for that. It went over for like more than a year. So it's funny. It's pretty cool. But yeah, this would be more efficient. Way more efficient because anyone could trace anything. It's there for you to access. There's no laws preventing you to access her medical records or whatever. Hey, this guy has AIDS. This guy has cancer. This guy has testicular. This guy's raped somebody back.
Mm.
This guy's arithmetic test score back in 6th grade. You could access that. It would even be digested for you, meaning there'd be a credit score that you could roughly look at instead of like trying to make sense of his work history. Right? You could just look at a work history reputation score. How good is he at what he does? Right? You could just look at the score and just make a quick judgment if you didn't have time to read through how that score was formulated, right? And all these reputation scores, this competition of reputation scores that there are programmers that get rewarded based upon how useful it is. All the new innovations you provide to these codes that build on each other, right? You'll be rewarded. What was I saying? Oh yeah, even the code would be open source. They would be incentivized to provide how they came up with that. There's no IP. There's no protection for intellectual property. Everything's open because information is very expensive to suppress, the better technology gets, because that's just a fact of technology. It gets cheaper and cheaper to store and transmit information. So, conversely, it gets more expensive to suppress it and destroy it. so, so you see, I think it's a beautiful system. It replaces the justice system. It replaces money because it's a broken off element of reputation because of privacy. Well, and lack of technology too. And it it makes the just the general economy productivity much greater because there's no screening. Like, let's say you want to hire for someone for a job, there's no interviews anymore. Well, you can interview if you want to get, I don't know, maybe there's something else that the information system doesn't provide, like,
You want to throw a scenario at them, you're not sure how they would handle it.
huh? Oh yeah, a few,
Yeah,
like how maybe predict future behavior. But yeah, you could, but it'd be a much shorter process now,
right.
if at all, if you decide to interview and have a personal interview at all. I mean, there'd
So,
be,
what do you think would happen if somebody murdered somebody? Like, it would obviously
you couldn't
get
get away with it.
exposed, but I mean, what's the
Yeah.
proceeding after that?
Oh, okay. So it would depend on his victim. So the higher reputation person he kills, higher decrease in his reputational score. At some point, it becomes worth it to kill him or exile him or just keep him in his house. He won't be allowed to travel. He will be a prisoner in his own house if they allow him to keep his house. If they don't throw him, I don't know. I don't know. It would take into account profitability, what they do with him, though. I don't know.
So, but somebody who murders like really
Yeah.
low reputation people could almost get away
Yeah,
with a few of them.
especially if they're high rep. Unfortunately, that's just how it should be. Like, for instance, let me give you a utilitarian scenario, right? So in our current system, we don't care who they killed. We don't care virtually who they are, right? We do care about their previous criminal history, but we don't. They kind of take into account like what they do and what role they play in society. But the a true market will really take into account what they do for society. So if you were to imagine a gifted surgeon who saved high reputation individuals' lives, he saved, like, let's say 100 a day, but at night he kills one bum every night, right? So make it like extreme. Like, what?
Oh my
So
god!
I know. So our society currently doesn't take into account profit. So what it would do is it doesn't care, right? He's a murderer, right? We treat him the same as if he killed a high reputation individual and if he was poor. Virtually. I mean, I think they do give a little break, if you're a productive member of society with a job and stuff. So, I don't think so. Yeah, let's say it's the same type of crime. I don't know. He raped them first and stabbed them and cut off his head. Right? It's the exact same circumstances of murder. So it's gruesome. I contend that this society, taking into account profitability, should treat the instance where the rich guy killed the poor guy in differently, and give him man, my words are coming out slow now, but they'll give him preferential treatment over if it was the other way around, and you'll just so that's the thing. You have to look at things if you were spending the money and if you were society, right?
Well,
So
let's say it was a low reputation, a young teenager who was just going out and then he decided to kill a homeless person.
it the probability of him becoming successful or productive later would be taken into account. Younger people normally have more to look forward to, more productivity ahead of them. So it takes that into account, their future product. People, your reputation would somehow take that into account. It'd be part of your reputation score. How your potential future productivity. So the older you get, naturally, I think your reputation would decrease probably. I still
Makes
haven't
sense.
worked out, like, I was trying to think about it, but I have to work too. But how what inheritance would look like. You You can't just die with your reputation or something. Or should you? I've been working that. I don't know. That's one of my dilemmas at the moment.
I mean,
But so
genetics do pass on. Like children would kind of inherit similar skills, maybe.
yeah, but how would the reputation be handed down to? You should. I don't know. I am working that out. You know, I'm. If you think of something, tell me about it. We maybe should talk about it. But I don't want to like innovate on air right here. But okay, so we go back to the murder thing. Now think about it in terms of your family, right? You have a Let's just keep the entire world as your family, right? 10 members. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe make it 1 million members. They're all your family, for God's
Cool.
sakes, right? I want to internalize all the lives in the decision you make, right? So by because you're kind of separated from everybody in society, but by making your family the death and lives that's saved are more taken into consideration by making it personal to you. That's what I'm doing by creating this hypothetical. So imagine that you have a million wide family. You know, it's just as loving as your direct family, your girlfriend and your kid, if you have one, right? I think like it's just as close as that with all the million members, right? Somehow you know each other. You know, I just want to make it large enough where killing one person isn't like catastrophic. You know, if you had only a family of two, you know, killing one person or three, where it's you, the murderer, and the victim, right? And then he kills that guy. It's almost catastrophic, and because you're only a family of three. But let's say make a million, right? Now one of your family members, right? What he does every day is somehow save 10 members' lives, but he kills one of them and those 10 members' lives, or let's just say high reputation. They're very valuable to your family. They're the highest earners in your family, providing the most sustenance for your family. Then you got this low life scum. I don't know. I don't know. He just lives in his mom's basement or whatever, right? So this gifted surgeon, he's probably the most productive member of your family. He saves 10 member. He actually produces let's say, how do I want to say it? Do I want to say he creates more members of your family, or let's just say since it's 1 million people, he saves 10 lives every day, but he kills one. Now now you have the adjudication and power to punish this guy. Imagine a duplicate family here with a duplicate you, but he does the opposite as far as what he's going to do for this murder. He's going to do the opposite, right? So what will you choose as a rational actor? Do you punish him? Of course, you're going to punish him with a decrease in reputation. He's obvious. So, what this guy's doing, in a utilitarian sense, is the net benefit every day that occurs is that lives are saved, right? Because he kills one, right? That 10th life he saves kind of cancels out the murder. So it's the same as I know it's but it's rational. Only the system,
It's
this system
logical.
pervert, the system perverts the way you look at things. But you should look at it in this way. If this current system weren't so unprofitable and make supporting people who look at things like, oh, that's still evil, right? But
There was a story I read in high school that was about like the future where people are traveling through space and a stowaway hides on this ship that they had specified just enough fuel to make it where they need to go. So this
yeah,
little child stowaway had to get
fuck it up.
jettisoned. And that was the
Yeah,
whole plot of the story. It was
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
oh my
It's
God.
it's interesting. I mean, we're lucky enough to be in a first world where we have ultimate national defense and where we don't have to experience these tough choices, but they
Hmm.
do happen in the world.
They
Things like
do.
that actually occur. I mean,
Mhm.
you hear stories people having to trade their kids and kill them and eat them because of famines, right? There are
Right.
tough choices to be had, and we're lucky enough to be so rich that we can sit in our armchair and say, "Hey, that's still evil."
That's
But
ridiculous.
yeah,
I would never do that.
yeah,
Yeah, you can
yeah.
take the moral superiority all you want when you don't
We are
have
very
to.
lucky. We are in the most richest country in the first world. We are the richest first world country. with the best defense. We don't have to worry about invaders, right? Like Ukraine or Taiwan. Imagine living in Ukraine where they're worried about Russia taking over and wars happening in your backyard, or Taiwan. They're shaking in their boots, wondering when China's gonna come reunite them into China, right? Imagine living with that fear every day. Imagine actually, having survived the Holocaust, where dictators, there's crazy circumstances. I don't know, like I don't know. I read a story where someone had to smother their baby because it might make so much noise when you're hiding in the attic. Things
Oh,
like that. I mean,
right.
we're lucky. We're lucky. I mean, a bear. You could be in an instance where a bear's chasing you. And do you push down your friend that's ahead of you just so that it's enough to get away? It's like
Oh
things like
my
these,
God.
the tough moral dilemmas. A good moral system should deal with these.
Yeah,
Not
you
only
gotta be able to live with yourself, man.
Yeah. The good moral system should handle tough cases, improbable tough cases that seem improbable because we live in a first world, we live in a sheltered world, and easy cases. And that's what my system does with profitability, evolutionary profit. It deals with all of these. And so going back to this, murder family hypothetical, what would you do? How would you punish this guy? Obviously, the net benefit is 9 lives. Should you treat this guy? So imagine the same scenario, only this gifted family member saved 9 lives and didn't kill anybody, right? The net result is the same, kind of. Actually, even better. Well, given Yeah, it's better. Well, actually, it's better. You'd prefer you should rationally prefer the instance where the guy kills the guy. Do you remember why? It's like school. I'm the professor. Do you remember
Well,
why? What the
you, you're
difference is?
you're saying there's technically one more number involved there. You're
No. Well, it's the same result. 9 lives ultimately are saved. But remember the difference maker? It's the quality of the individuals that are saved. Remember, he was saying high productive individuals. He
that's what
killed
his
the
focus is
he
on.
killed the bum. He killed the guy in the basement.
Yeah.
Remember, that's the difference. So in this one case, uh, he killed. It's just like replacing a high rep individual with a low. It's replacing a low rep individual with a high rep one. That's the difference. That's the net result difference in those
You're
cases.
you're saying the reputation system would be accounting for like all variables across the board.
Yes. Yes. So
That
you
seems
should
hard to believe.
it, and evolution. So remember those two alternate worlds where this guy did the opposite of what you did. So both, let's say you can choose between scenarios.
Hmm.
So you choose the one where he kills the guy, and in the alternate world he chooses the hypothetical where he doesn't kill the guy. He saves 9 lives, but doesn't kill the 10th. Doesn't kill the guy in the basement, right? So net 9 lives were saved. High productive individuals. In the other first case where there's murder, what he does is he not only saves those wait he not only saves those 9 lives, right?
Mhm.
But with that murder and that 10th saved life, he's replaced that low reputation individual with a high rep one. And so
So he's like purifying or something or
yeah,
improving or
he's improving the productivity. And guess what? What society, what choice evolution would encourage by selection? It would encourage you choosing the murder instance, even though there's murder in your society. It's like a moral dilemma in conventional moral ethics because we're shielded from having to make tough choices. But the system's ready to collapse because of the unprofitability. But anyways, I don't know. I don't want to keep you. It's maybe we can pick it up on another chat. Wait, when did we start the chat? I don't know.